He still wants you to ask him to go to brunch, you assholes. He can still
Right.
see you on Instagram. Like,
Right. They're just so uncomfortable with it.
so uncomfortable.
Because I'm just trying to work through this stuff on my own, only in that, and I guess maybe I am in shock, though I'm trying to deal and I'm trying to have the feelings. But I think that after a certain point, and I imagine it's the same when someone's terminally ill, that people don't really know how to behave. And it also reflects on their own mortality and fragility, and they don't want to be around that.
Mm-hmm. And I think more importantly, I think that everyone was just so afraid of saying the wrong thing or appearing to show up in the wrong way that it's safer to not. Because what if they say the wrong thing to you about Lynn? Like, what if and also you're so unpredictable when you're grieving. And I will own that. Like, there were a lot of relationships that I burned to the ground because it hurt. It hurt so much. And if you asked me the wrong thing on the wrong day, I would lose my mind on you. Like, I would lose my mind on you.
It's weird. I've really sort of like instinctively insulated myself because I don't want to make it about me necessarily, and I know that there are people that have had longer relationships with her and her parents and her family that are going through a tough time. I don't really know those people that well, but there are people in my life who I know are not going to really say what I need to hear. And I've told them, like, look, I'll get to you when I can get to you.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're also more emotionally mature than I was at the time.
I don't know about that.
I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to say that I didn't even know what I needed. I really did want people to read my mind. And when he was sick, I was angry for him. Like, my anger for him and for the life that he was losing, when there's so many assholes who live forever, like so many jerks.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I can't. It's so weird. Yeah, I can't let myself think that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I would just sometimes be like confronted by it, and then I would be so mad, and I was so mad for him because he was so kind and he showed up for so many people, and I wanted people to. I don't know. There was nothing. Honestly, there was nothing they could have done correctly except for the very few friends who just showed up and let him be a person and sat on the couch with him and brought him a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, which was so disgusting. And, and just let him be a person. But, I also like, I have a hard time with parts of the life that I have because I would rather have had Aaron. Then I would rather be able to talk to Marc Maron because I did something else. I don't know, like, what could I have done that was more interesting? But it's like, this is what I have, and this is what I've been able to do with it. And I would still prefer. I don't know. I didn't pick it. You don't get to pick what happens, but you get to choose what you do with it. And I knew I couldn't go back and sit in a cubicle and pretend to be normal. And even though I had no money, he didn't have life insurance. He was 31 when we met. We were unmarried. And I just knew I couldn't go back. I had to make something else up. I had to do something else.
Well, it seems to me that, like, given where you were, once you met this person who was able to sort of open up that part of you that was shut out because of lack of confidence, or you didn't really know where you wanted to go, that it provided you a wholeness and a sense of depth that you could appreciate in yourself and he could appreciate in you. So, I mean, I would imagine coming out of the tragedy that, if you could be of service with that depth, it's not like you were necessarily going to just move on and, with your new confidence and do the writing or whatever, which, I mean, you did anyways. But I mean, I think there seems to be some part of you that likes to be of service.
It is. And I also I knew very early that we were lucky. Even though he had 3 to 5 years to live.
Lucky because of how you felt about each other?
And because of everything. We would go to the hospital and we would look around us and be like, oh, that's bad. Like, we're not here with our 3-year-old.
Right.
You know,
Right.
where like we'd go to the radiation center, and at one point somebody had left a door open, and we looked in, and all of the radiation, they sort of melt this plastic sheet onto you.
Yeah.
So it forms to you so they can aim the radiation. And there was a tiny one, like a
Uh,
itty bitty kid torso. And Aaron was like, that's sad. And we have each other and we're okay. And how lucky to have health insurance. He had health insurance. And a year before, he had been a contractor at that agency with no insurance, and he would have not gotten the care that he got. There's no way. There's no way. And seeing the sticker price of a brain surgery, it's not like I want a deal on a brain. It's not like you're going to price shop for a brain surgery. And the cost of that brain surgery was more than the house we lived in was worth. We didn't pay that because of insurance, but
right.
we knew that we were lucky. Somebody started a fundraiser, again, America, crowdsource your way through tragedy, which was humiliating for me. We both had good jobs. How did we not have, money to pay for a funeral or for me to pay for hospice? Looking at,
but you were young. I mean, it wasn't like you had some.
No, but it's also, I'm like, I felt like a failure, like meeting with, home health aides and being like, okay, it's $35 an hour. So if you come at 1 a.m., I'll go to bed at 1, I'll wake up at 7. So I can relieve you and then I'll take care of it. Like, it was having other people step up and give us that money. Let me hire people, let me pay for his funeral, let me pay off his medical debt. And I would go through at night other people's fundraisers and see it. If you don't have a network of people who can even give you $5 or $25, you are truly left out to dry. Like you are done. Like what doesn't kill you won't make you stronger. It will fucking ruin you. It will fucking ruin you financially, which will ruin your children's future and their children's future. And I have always felt very driven. I guess, I've never put it that way, but I have felt driven to help other people through this however I can and in whatever way I can.
Well, all right. So you lose a baby and then your father dies and then your husband dies.
Yes.
Within a month or month and a half.
October to November. Yeah.
And you were sort of prepared, I guess, for your father and your husband.
In a way, it's like you are and then you're not.
Of course, right. Yeah, I'm dealing with my it's not the same, but I've got this cat that's been sick for a year, and somehow or another he's holding on, and Lynn's dead. Yeah. And I've been waiting for this fucking thing to die for a year. And now the thought of him dying is just devastating to me because I know that once that happens, all of the grief's going to come raining down on me.
Oh, yeah. And then every time you hear something similar, you're going to see people who look like Lynn. Have you started to see her around? I guess you're not really leaving your house because
but like I just like I've done I don't know how to really how one handles this because there was no preparation. She was just really sick for a few days and then she never came back from the hospital but I've had a couple of dreams, and I've kept a couple of items of hers that I seem to connect with, and I'm able to sort of summon her up. I've recently, now that I'm a month into this, been able to look at some videos and stuff. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I just can't take it.
Yeah. A month is nothing. A month is like a minute.
No, I know, but I mean, I get that, I watch the TED Talk, but people send, they recommend these books. Yeah. The 2 books, it seems to be the Joan Didion book, The Year of Magical Thinking, which was good, actually. I don't know if I could have read it, I could have waited a little while, but the other one, the C.S. Lewis book is just way too dense for me.
Grief Observed?
Yeah.
That one? No. Everyone sent me that one too. I think it's still on my shelf, but I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it right now. And people sent me a lot of books. And whenever people are like, what book should I send someone? I'm like, don't send them my books. I'm sorry. That's probably the worst advice. Don't send them my books.
Yeah.
No.
How many
Just
books have you written about it?
I've written the first book wrote I wrote in the 6 months after Aaron died, just frenetically, like I have to get this out. I want a chaotic book that is about this chaotic experience. And it's
What was
called It's
that
Okay.
called?
It's called It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too.
Yeah.
And then the second book I wrote was called No Happy Endings, and that's about meeting my current husband and blending our family, and the fact that I did not even feel the depth of my grief until I fell in love again, until I met Matthew and was present with him and had a safe place to be with this depth of loss. And then I wrote a book with Ted called The Hot Young Widows Club, which is very practical, a book for people who are grieving and also for the grief adjacent to help them be better.
But like when you say like, you had all this grief and you weren't able to fully process it until you fell in love again, because you were just holding on to it and managing it, and that when somebody gave you
it. Oh, I ran so fast. I ran so hard. The year after Aaron died, I wrote a book. I rented my house out, the house where he died, and I took Ralph, I took my little kid, my little 2-year-old, and I bought one-way tickets to any city where we knew someone. So I stayed in Los Angeles with my friend Tyler. Thank you, buddy. With his newlywed wife who was like, hi.
Yeah. Well, were you were just going around visiting people crying?
No, just avoiding. As long as I wasn't in Minneapolis, as long as I didn't have to like see the coffee
shit,
shop,
man.
as long as I didn't have to.
I'm not avoiding it. I mean, I can't, like, if I could stop crying in front of my neighbors, it'd be good. It just because if they ask me how I'm doing, I'm so touched by, the sort of, even if it's impulsive, there's a kind of human, genuine concern. It's not just politeness. I don't know that they know what they're getting into when they ask.
Yeah.
Right. But, I think it's genuine. I don't know if they, like, if my neighbor who I don't really know that well says, how am I doing? And I'm like, I'm all right. And I start to get choked up and he's still standing there. Yeah. I don't know if he feels uncomfortable. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And there's something like, I don't want that to be happening forever, the crying in front of neighbors. But sometimes it feels like that the feelings come out when I'm in the presence of people. I don't know why that is. I mean, they come out alone, but there's something a lot more unmanageable about that. And it seems easier for me to shut them down when I'm alone, unless I let myself sit in it. But like, because we're in quarantine and I can't really hang out with people that much, like I'm in this thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's probably making me sort of really deal with it.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I actually wish that I would have been with it, and I did not want to be with it. I did not want to be with it, and I didn't want anyone to feel bad for me, and I just felt so much pity, and I could cry as long as I didn't know the person. So God bless every Target checkout boy who was like, how you doing today? And I was like, honestly, I'm so glad you asked, Tyler, because I'm fucking unwell.
Okay. Yeah.
This baby, his dad is dead. I hope you don't fall in love because you might die. I just was so busy, and I looked so good too. I never looked better the year after Aaron died. Aaron, like, I would always dress up for him at the hospital. Like, I always wore lipstick. I always looked nice. I looked very good after he died. I put a lot of effort into my appearance, and I stayed with my best friends. I stayed here in Arizona where Aaron's sister lived. I came down and stayed in her daughter's bed, and her daughter slept on the floor. Thank you, sweet Josie.
You live in Arizona?
I just moved here. Yeah. And I just avoided. And Matthew was introduced to me by my friend Mo, who's also a widow, who started the Hot Young Widows Club with me. And I don't know, it was a year after Aaron died, and I could feel like I could feel it from the back of my neck to my shoulders. Like I couldn't even turn my head. Like it had found me, like it had gotten to me, and it was in my body.
The grief.
And I truly, it was like, I was so achievement oriented. I was going to like I started a freelance career. I was going to do, whatever I could to pay my own bills. And